I've been on the road for nearly 30 years. It gets into your system after a bit. A strange kind of peace you settle into once you've been doing it long enough. Drive, stop, sleep, repeat. You learn the roads like old friends, know which truck stops have decent food, which rest areas are too sketchy to park in, and more than anything, you learn how to be alone. Not just comfortable with it, but protective of it. That kind of solitude gets in your bones. It teaches you to trust your instincts and never second guess them. It was early December 2019. South Dakota was already knee-deep in winter, and I'd just finished a long haul from Kansas City. My rig was heavy with a shipment of steel coil, and I was making my way toward Billings. Roads were decent, but the forecast was talking about wind gusts and freezing temps overnight, so I decided to pull off early and play it safe. I found a rest area off I-90 just outside Rapid City. Remote enough to be quiet, but well lit and clean. One other truck was parked toward the far end, engine off. I backed into a space close to the building, facing the highway, set the brakes, did a quick walk around. All good. The snow was coming down harder than I expected, flurries blowing sideways under the parking lot lights. Back in the cab, I fired up the dash cooker and heated a can of beef stew. Cracked the windows just a little for ventilation. Wrapped up in my flannel and hoodie, eating straight from the can, while the radio whispered some old AM station static and distant country music. It was peaceful, familiar. Until it wasn't. Then came the knock. Hard. Desperate. Driver's side door. I sat there frozen for half a second. That knock wasn't casual. It was panicked, sloppy and loud, echoing through the cold. I pulled the curtain aside just a little and saw her. Teenage girl, maybe 16, hair wet and stuck to her face. She was pounding on the door with both fists, shouting something I couldn't make out. I rolled the window down just a crack. "Please," she gasped. "Let me in. He's coming. He's right behind me." I scanned the darkness behind her. Just snow and roadside shadows. No movement. No headlights. The snowfall was thick now, blurring the tree line and soaking everything. I've got a daughter about her age. And let me tell you, seeing a kid in that kind of panic triggers something primal. But instinct and training fight each other. You don't open your door for anyone until you're damn sure. "Who's coming?" I asked. She didn't answer, just banged her hands against the door again. "Please, please." I told her to back up so I could see. She kept pleading. Something wasn't right. Her voice was terrified, but her eyes weren't scanning. They weren't looking around like someone being chased. They were locked on me, like she was waiting for something. I reached over and hit the dashcam's quick record button, then flipped on both side mirrors and the rear spotlight. Nothing in the mirror. No one behind her. No tire tracks approaching. The storm was too loud, too chaotic. I could barely hear my own breathing, let alone footsteps in the snow. "Back up," I shouted. "Let me see." She blinked at me, just once, and stopped crying. That stillness, that's what shook me. Then, without another word, she turned and walked away. Not ran. Walked. Her figure vanished slowly into the storm, swallowed up by the wind and snow. I sat there staring, waiting to see who might appear from the shadows. No one came. I didn't sleep much. Kept the engine idling and the cabin locked up tight. At one point, I climbed into the back and grabbed my crowbar just to feel better. I left the radio on low all night and kept looking out the mirrors every few minutes. Come morning, I checked the footage. My hands were shaking as I clicked through. She hadn't run up. The dash cam caught her walking slowly toward the truck, calm, like a stroll. And as she got close to the passenger side, the night vision picked up movement beneath the trailer. A figure, Someone crawling flat against the ice toward the front axle. Waiting beneath the cab. I hit pause, rewound, watched again. They were using her as bait. She was never being chased. She was the distraction. I reported it. State police came to meet me at the next way station. I handed over the footage. They took it seriously, said they'd had a few similar reports over the past year, especially in colder months. A decoy knocks. The driver opens the door. Someone else ambushes them from the blind side. They asked if I got a license plate, but I didn't. The girl hadn't come from a vehicle. There was no car in the lot. And whoever had been under my rig had slithered out of frame before I could get a clear shot. They never caught anyone. The footage made the rounds on a few trucker forums. A few folks said they'd seen similar setups. One guy swore he got followed out of a rest stop after a girl tried to wave him down in the rain. Another said he saw someone crawl out from beneath a trailer and vanish into the trees near Butte. After that night, I installed undercarriage motion sensors and an exterior camera rig with infrared. I don't park unless I'm in view of security cams or another driver now. I don't care how tired I am. I'd rather pull an 11-hour haul than sleep blind. I've driven through blizzards. I've seen flipped rigs, break-ins, guys tweaking out at 3 a.m. in gas station lots. But that night outside Rapid City, that's the one I think about when I close my eyes. Because I've had close calls in bad weather before. But that night, I wasn't fighting the storm. I was fighting something worse. Nearly 8 years of flatbed hauls, all solo. There's a lot of pride in that. You get good at handling the stress, the weight, the solitude. You develop thick skin and a sixth sense about people and places. Especially when you're a woman running loads across back roads, most folks wouldn't drive in daylight. You learn how to blend in, how to read the layout of a truck stop within seconds, and how to act like you're never unsure of anything, even when your gut's tying itself in knots. It was East Texas, somewhere between Nacogdoches and Jasper. I just made a delivery and was deadheading to the next pickup near the Louisiana border. It was July 2021, one of those days where the air feels heavy even in the morning. Sky a pale, sweaty gray, cicadas already screaming by noon. The kind of heat that clings to your skin no matter what. Forecast was saying a storm was blowing in, and it felt like the trees knew it too. Everything was still, too still. Even the birds had gone quiet. It was just past 4:30 p.m. when I saw her, or what I thought was her. There's this narrow 2-lane stretch of highway out there, real quiet, barely any shoulder, no real traffic, no houses for miles. I was maybe 15 miles out from the main road when I saw a figure slumped in the ditch just off the right side. At first, I thought it was a deer, but as I got closer, I realized it was a woman, knees tucked to her chest, long dark hair hanging over her face. She wasn't moving, looked like she was sobbing, shoulders trembling. I remember the way her arms were wrapped around her legs, just tight enough to make it believable. I slowed down, real slow, leaned over and rolled the passenger window down. "Hey," I called out. "You all right?" No response. I coasted to a stop about 20 feet ahead, hazard lights flashing. Grabbed my phone, left the engine idling, and climbed down. I told myself it might be someone who'd been in an accident, someone who needed help but couldn't speak. Still, my hand was wrapped around the handle of my pocket knife as I stepped off the pavement. The second I touched the grass, my gut screamed at me. Something was wrong. I took a few cautious steps toward her. The grass was slick from earlier drizzle, thick with weeds and vines. I was maybe 10 feet away when I noticed her hair. It didn't move. No shift from the wind. Her skin looked strange, too. Pale, too pale. The posture was too rigid, too posed. And then I saw it, her scalp. The line where the wig was attached. It wasn't a woman, it was a mannequin. I didn't have time to process it. Snap. A branch cracked behind me. I turned just in time to see a man break from the tree line, sprinting straight toward me. He was wearing dark clothes, mud-streaked, face partially covered by a hoodie. In one hand, something shiny, metal, a pipe or maybe a crowbar. I ran. No time to scream, no time to think, just pure adrenaline. I reached the truck, swung myself up by the driver's side rail, and slammed the door shut just as he grabbed for it. His fingers scraped the window. I could see the whites of his eyes, wild and locked onto mine. He pounded on the door once, hard, then turned and vanished back into the trees. It was like he knew he'd missed his window and didn't want to waste time. I threw the truck into gear and peeled out, tires skidding in the gravel, fishtailing slightly as I hit the road. I kept checking my mirrors, expecting a car to pull out of the trees behind me. But no one followed. I didn't stop until I reached a gas station 30 miles up the highway, one of those older ones with flickering lights and a single pump. My hands were shaking so bad I could barely type the number for 911. I sat in the cab with the engine running until the deputies arrived. 2 county deputies showed up about 40 minutes later. Took my statement. I showed them the dash cam footage, which thankfully caught part of it. The moment I stopped, the moment I ran. The man's face was too obscured to ID, but the footage clearly showed the mannequin. They went back out there to check it out. Called me the next day, said the woman was indeed a mannequin dressed in torn jeans and a hoodie, wig glued on, no fingerprints, no IDs. Just enough detail to make it convincing from a distance. Near the tree line, they found tire tracks, 2 sets, discarded beer cans, a used pepper spray canister, evidence that whoever planned it had done it before, and maybe planned to do it again. Said I wasn't the first. 2 months earlier, another driver reported the same setup, same location, but he didn't get out. Just slowed down and kept moving when he noticed the figure didn't react. He called it in too, but by the time law enforcement arrived, the ditch was empty. They never caught the guy, or guys. Nobody really knows if it's one predator or a group. Could be a local, could be someone who targets that stretch whenever they think they've got a chance. Whoever it was, they knew what they were doing. After that, I started keeping a crowbar under my seat and a new lock bar on both doors. I added motion lights to the side of the cab and installed a personal GPS alert system my sister insisted on buying me. Every time I stop now, I park nose out. Every time I walk around the rig, I carry a flashlight, even in daylight. I still take back roads, still run solo. But I trust my gut now more than ever. If something feels wrong, it is. Because if I'd taken 2 more steps, I don't think I'd be here to warn anyone else.